You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report's Daily Report, episode number 230.1, our daily update on high school, college, and professional sports news in Central Indiana, with a little bit of major national sports news, anything that may be of interest to Central Indiana sports fans.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengels.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you've chosen to listen to the Central Indiana Sports Report. Thank you for making us a small part of your day. Today is April 9, 2025. It's a Wednesday, so it's another day for the Central Indiana Sports Report. I'm your host, Greg Mengelt. I love Central Indiana sports. Today I'm coming to you from Madison Grant High School. Producer Susie is in the control room at headquarters in Jeffersonville. Coming up, we have lots of varsity high school baseball and softball, plus the Pacers were in action, and a couple of in-state college baseball rivalries. But first, please go to our YouTube page and subscribe. Just search Central Indiana Sports Report. It's easy to find. Please do it so you don't miss a single segment. Also, earlier Wednesday, we released our Grant Schaus's recap of the NCAA tournament. We will also have his IU report talking about a lot of recruiting and new additions to the roster and some potential recruits from the portal. On Thursday, we'll have Will Rutherford's 5 questions that need answers, and in the next few days, we will have some spring sports previews. Our first day of a full slate of high school baseball and softball, so we will start there. We had a wild one in Walton, a game that was scoreless through 3 innings between Tipton and Cass. Then the offenses exploded. Cass took a 5-2 lead through 5. Then Tipton scored 5 in the top of the 6th before the Kings won the game with 1 in the 6th and 2 in the 7th in their opener. Tipton is now 0-3. They were led by Jack Roach, who had a couple of doubles and 4 RBIs in the loss. Jaron Aller had a double and 2 RBIs. Caleb Hare and Kelvin Hussong both scored twice. Hussong also had a double. North Miami beat visiting Eastbrook 10-8. North Miami scored 6 runs in the 4th. Eastbrook scored 6 runs over its final 3 at bats. The Panthers were led by sophomore Austin Michael, who was 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Sophomore Jacob McDermott, who was 2 for 4 with a double and an RBI. And sophomore Malachi Luthi, who scored 3 times. Logan Smith was 3 for 4 with a double, and Isaac Floyd 2 for 4 with a double and 3 RBIs for North Miami. Eastern won for its second straight day over a CIC opponent, 6-5 over visiting Oak Hill. Eastern scored 4 runs in the bottom of the first after Oak Hill scored 3 in the top of the first. Alistair Schock hit a 3-run triple, and Lucas Fuel had a 2-run double for the Comets, who are now 2-1. Caleb Hurt was the winning pitcher, and Colt Snyder got the save for Oak Hill, which is 1-1. Noah Thompson had 2 of the team's 5 hits. He scored a run and drove in 2. Mississinewa opened its season with a 5-4 win over visiting Kokomo. The Indians scored a run in the bottom of the 7th to take the win. 5 different Mississinewa batters had a hit in the victory. Kokomo led 3-1 through 3.5 innings, but 3 errors and 6 walks surrendered cost the Wildcats. Landon Gibson was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. Cameron Parks and Brighton Harris both scored 2 runs. Kokomo is at Elwood on Wednesday. Pendleton Heights beat Yorktown 10-0 for the first win of the season. Both teams are now 1-1 overall and 1-1 in the Hoosier Heritage. Pendleton Heights scored its 10 runs on 4 hits. They drew 12 walks. Colton Frank threw a 3-hit shutout with 5 strikeouts, 0 walks. Brant Gray was 2 for 3 and drove in 2 runs. Ty Francis had 2 RBIs, and Ryan Kiesling scored 3 runs. And Colin Axel Adams had a double and scored twice for the Arabians. For Yorktown, Aiden Witt, Luke Diebold, and Sam Tokar each had a single. Andrew Bolt outdueled Miles Enos in Mount Vernon's 1-0 Hoosier Heritage Conference win over Delta. Bolt got the complete game, a 3-hit shutout. He struck out 6 and didn't walk any. Enos was just as good. He also threw a complete game, only allowed 3 hits, no earned runs. He struck out 8 and walked just 2. Offensively for Delta, Gavin Case, Ryan Neal, and Chase Flannery had singles. For Mount Vernon, Gavin Joy had the game-winning RBI in the third that scored Riker Bear. Bear had 2 hits in the win. Cowan scored 7 times in the top of the 5th to come from behind to beat Union City 13-8. Gentry Groves led the offensive explosion with a couple of doubles, 3 RBIs, and he scored twice on the day. Brody Clifford was 2 for 4 with 2 runs and an RBI, and Jaden Knocker drew 4 walks and scored 3 times. Daleville hit 5 doubles and took advantage of 7 Seton Catholic errors in a 19-2 win at Seton Catholic. The Broncos led 6-0 after 2 innings, then scored 7 more times in the third. Alex Ramirez was 3 for 3 with a double, 4 runs, and an RBI. Caleb Bacon had 3 RBIs and scored twice. Joshua Wilson and Braden Sigler both drove in 2 runs. Aiken, Austin Carey, and Noah Colvin each scored twice. Ansel Miller shut down Sheridan in its season opener, and Indianapolis Kings beat the Blackhawks 3-1. Miller allowed just 3 hits, and the only run he allowed was unearned. He also struck out 8 batters. Jacko Land scored the run for Sheridan. Dane Vogue took the loss despite a solid 5 innings pitched. He allowed just 3 hits and 1 earned run and struck out 8. Sheridan hosts 1-0 and reigning regional champion Madison Grant on Wednesday. Northeastern is 2-0 after beating Burris 10-0. Logan White, Caden White, and Riley Isaacs combined on the shutout. And Caden White was 2 for 2 with a double, 3 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. Nicholas Bontzek and Dane Adams had singles for the 0-2 Owls. Now we move to some softball. Ella Lobeck threw a complete game shutout, and Tipton earned its first win of the season, 2-0 over rival Tri-Central. Lobeck allowed just 3 hits and struck out 11 Trojans. She was also 2 for 3 at the plate and scored 1 of the Devils' 2 runs. Chastity Keelish and Chadlin Beach both drove in a run for the Blue Devils. Emily Marzuski had 2 of Tri-Central's 3 hits. Randy Casto tossed a complete game shutout in Eastbrook's season opener, and the Panthers beat Bluffton 10-0. Casto allowed just 4 hits and struck out 8. Olivia Pomeroy went 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs and scored twice. And Gracie Elliott had a double and drove in 4 runs. Kaylee Perry went 3 for 3 with a double, and Casto was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Olivia Legg and Miley Brown both crossed the plate twice. Eastbrook is at Northwestern Wednesday, and Oak Hill won a good one Tuesday at Northwestern, 6-4 behind strong pitching performances from Carson Wiley and Patty Spiker. They combined for 12 strikeouts and allowed just 1 earned run in the win. Wiley was also a hero at the plate with a 2 RBI double. Maddie Evans had a double and scored twice in the win. Stevie Ray Hedges and Addie Clark each had 2 hits in Northwestern season opener. Macy Roddy had a 2 RBI single. Hedges also had a strong pitching performance, allowing just 1 earned run in 4 innings pitched. She struck out 6 Panthers. Anderson started its season with an offensive explosion and an NCC victory. The Indians scored 3 times in the 5th to take a 5-3 lead, then scored 3 more times in the 7th to take a 9-5 lead before Marion forced extra innings with 4 runs of its own in the bottom of the 7th on Allie Ernest's base-clearing triple. Anderson then scored 4 times in the 8th for the win. Addison Faustnight scored 4 times for Marion. Shenandoah started its season with a nice 4-1 win at Pendleton Heights. Olivia Watson allowed the Arabians just 1 run on 3 hits and struck out 10. Aubrey Fox, Ari Rector, and Cassie Hayes had hits for Pendleton. Delta scored 9 runs in the final 3 innings and won its first game of the season, 11-5 over visiting West Dell. Caden Freiberger and Liz Bramlett each had an RBI and scored twice in the win. Bramlett and Maddie Smith both had doubles. Bailey West was 2 for 4 with a home run and scored twice for West Dell. Marley Bartram went 2 for 4 and drove in 2 runs. West Dell is the opponent in Alexandria's season opener on Wednesday. Mechanical scored 10 times in the sixth inning to pull away from Eastern in an 18-8 win in the Braves opener. El Winger led the Comets offense with 2 singles, 2 runs, and 2 RBIs. Lauren Hendrick also scored twice. The 0-3 Comets go on the road Wednesday to face sectional rival Madison Grant. Liberty Christian started its season with an 8-3 win over Irvington Prep. Pendleton Heights added a game against Lawrence North on Thursday at 6 at home, and Alexandria's game against Muncie Central was canceled Tuesday. To track and field, Tipton's boys won a 3-way track meet Tuesday at Tipton. The Blue Devils scored 95 points, more than Eastern and Taylor combined. Andrew Cavazos won the discus and the shot put, and Riley Helmberger won the 100 and was second in the 200 for Eastern. Eastern's girls scored 62 points and beat runner-up Tipton by 19 in the 3-way meet. Taylor was third. Eastern's Ava Kantz won the 800, the 1600. Zoe Sexton won the 400, and both of them teamed up with Cora Gunderson and Kendall Clinton to win the 4x400 relay. Eastern's Elizabeth Bruno was the shot put and discus winner. Monroe Central swept West Dell and Elwood in a 3-way meet Tuesday. The Monroe Central boys beat West Dell by 12 points, and the girls topped Elwood by 45 points for the win. To boys golf, Madison Grant opened its season with a 201-212 win over Marion at the Marion Elks. Bryce Yagi led the Argyles with a medalist round of 48. Also for Madison Grant, Leo Hood shot a 49. Mason Seward finished his round in 51 strokes. And Xander Gillespie and Ryder Frank both shot 53s. Keith Shelton led Marion with a 51. Roman Daly shot a 53. And Isaiah Rumpel and Ethan Fain both shot 54s for the Giants. We moved to the NBA, and it certainly wasn't pretty. Probably the ugliest win of the year for the Pacers, but it was a win. 104-98 over lowly Washington for their 5th straight win and 9th in their last 11 games. They looked like they have so many times this year. The starters played the first quarter like they'd rather be somewhere else, and they allowed 35 points in the period and trailed by as many as 12 multiple times in the third period. We're still behind with 3 minutes to go. They finally tied it at 92 with just over 2 minutes left, behind 4 straight points from Pascal Siakam and a fast break 3 from Aaron Nesmith on an assist from Andrew Nimhard. Miles Turner's 3 with 51 seconds left put the game away. Siakam led the Pacers with 24. Tyrese Halliburton had 22 points and 6 assists, and Benedict Mathurin led the Pacers bench scoring with 17. Indiana is home for East leading Cleveland, a potential Eastern Conference semifinal opponent, on Thursday on TNT. That tip-off is scheduled for 7. Like I said, it was ugly, but Rick Carlisle said he'll take it.
We did enough to win the game. We had, the last 3 quarters were very good defensive quarters, and we'll take those. But the 35-21 first quarter, we got to do better than that.
The Pacers' magic number to clinch the 4 seed is now 1. With 3 games left, all they have to do is get a win or a Milwaukee loss at any point the rest of the season, and they will start the playoffs at home. Detroit now trails the Bucks by 2 games, so it's looking like Pacers, Bucks, and Knicks Pistons in the first round starting April 19th. Speaking of which, the Bucks came from 20 points down in the fourth quarter to beat Minnesota 110-103 to keep the Pacers from clinching home court. Rookie Alex Sarr and Justin Champagnie led Washington with 20 points apiece. Also in the NBA, with 3 games left in the regular season, NBA title contender Denver shockingly fired NBA championship head coach Michael Malone and GM Calvin Booth. The Nuggets are currently 47-32 and tied for 4th in the West. Malone is the 4th championship-winning coach to be fired by the franchise that they led to a championship in the last 6 years. David Edelman has been named the interim head coach for the playoffs. Also, rookie Zach Edey, the big man from Purdue, tied Shaquille O'Neal's rookie record with 38 rebounds in consecutive games. He had 19 points and 17 rebounds in Tuesday's 124-100 win over the Hornets. Previously, he had a season-best 21 rebounds in Saturday's 109-103 win over Detroit. Couple of news and notes. Huntington North is looking for a new girls head basketball coach after Matt Hines resigned after 6 seasons as the Vikings head coach. Hines went 92-48 in 6 seasons and led North to the Northeast 8 championship in 2022. Brad Bozeman resigned his position as head coach at Twin Lakes after spending 22 years as the girls basketball coach there. And Greenfield Central's Mikey Johnson has committed to play his college basketball at IU East. To college baseball, IU scored 5 times in the third on another Corbin Dickerson home run, a 2-run single from Cooper Malamazian, and a 2-run double from Devin Taylor. And the Hoosiers beat Ball State 7-5. The Cardinals out hit IU 9-7. Taylor and Malamazian had 2 hits apiece, and both drove in 2 runs. Taylor also walked twice. Nick Hazovsky led the Ball State offense by going 2 for 5. He had an RBI single in the first and in the ninth. The Hoosiers are now 19-14. The Cardinals 23-11. Purdue lost its 8th straight game Tuesday, 9-8 in 10 innings to Indiana State. Purdue sent the game into extra innings on Avery Moore's sacrifice fly. Then the Sycamores won it on Nomar Garcia's fielder's choice. It was Garcia's 3rd RBI of the game. He also homered in the first. CJ Richmond drove in 4 for the 20-12 Boilermakers. Indiana State is now 16-16. Looking ahead to Wednesday, Alexandria is at home in baseball against Taylor, softball against West Dell, and tennis against Muncie Central. Also Wednesday, 0-3 Tipton goes to 2-0 Northwestern, and Mississinawa hosts Wapahani in its season opener on the softball fields, and Mississinawa hosts Marion in girls tennis. Also Wednesday, Indiana Wesleyan's baseball team is at Indiana Tech. IU softball hosts Louisville, and Purdue softball hosts Eastern Illinois. And now you know everything we know about Central Indiana sports. Thanks so much for listening. If you like the daily report, please share it with your friends and family. That would really help us out. Appreciate it in advance. Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.